Hey everyone, this is Tony Kaufman on another episode of the World Class Mentors. This is our radio show and podcast celebration of people who have achieved world class through sharing their stories and honoring their mentors. And today, talk about honoring their mentors, we have got an incredible lady, and it was an absolute pleasure to meet her and to be with her and spend some time in Orlando. This is the famous Ella Glasgow. How are you, Ella?
I am doing well. I like that. The famous Ella Glasgow. I can get used to that.
Listen, guys, you guys do a Google on Ella, E-L-L-A, Glasgow, Glasgow, and I tell you what, the first thing that popped up, Ella, was Ella doing Ella. And it was you singing Ella Fitzgerald, and you're amazing.
Thank you very much.
All right, so let's introduce you properly. Ella Glasgow is on a mission to pull up the greatness in people by encouraging them to own the power of their voice, to speak with confidence, authority, and authenticity. You're a professional singer, but it's interesting. You're a singer that turned into a speaker coach and vocal impact expert. You help passionate womenpreneurs. That's a new word. I like that. Womenpreneurs step out of the shadow and into their spotlight, so they can speak with confidence from any stage. You know, Ella, that is such a great thing to do because, I mean, as a singer, you already know what all the intonations and the how you pace it. I mean, it's just invaluable stuff in there. Tell us a little bit about how you got started.
Thank you. Yeah, well, as you mentioned, I've been singing for a long time. It's almost 20 years now that I've been doing that professionally, and I recognized not too long ago that women in business, specifically women, have issues when it comes to standing up and speaking up and using the powerful voice that they have. And I knew that the tools that I had learned in my years on the stage and as a voice coach for singers would be highly valuable for women in business so that they could get the respect that they deserve speaking in front of people. You could probably say, it's a man's world.
All right. Now, listen, you were pretty shy at first. I mean, you could sing, but you didn't want to be on the stage speaking. What happened with you? How did you get over that?
It took me a while to get over that, and those are the same tools that I found, or the same tools that I use with my clients now. But for me, what happened was I had dreams of being more than just the singer, and I wanted to help people. I've always wanted to help people. That's what I grew up really wanting to do, and help people live their dreams. But I knew I couldn't do that if I wasn't speaking. The only way that I was going to get the message out was if I opened my mouth to actually speak some words without any song behind it. So I set on a mission to make that happen for myself, and figured out how to work past my fears and really just be okay with being on stage as a speaker, and knowing that me working through those things were going to be helpful for other women that have those same fears of getting behind the mic and hearing their voice speak on a microphone.
Listen, I love what you're doing. I am hearing that you're going to help people in another way. And you know, what's so funny is because you're creating community. So what's happening is that you're creating a nonprofit group called Orlando Speak, and this is where you're letting anyone through meetup.com come to meet you. You're going to host an event. They get to sit there and they get to give you a 1 minute or a 3 minute or a 5 minute talk, and you're going to help them, and you're going to help everybody from what I am understanding. So isn't that a great thing that you're involved in?
It is going to be so much fun. I'm so excited about heading this up here in Orlando, because this is something that I believe is going to be new for people here. And if they've experienced any type of other speaking organizations before, I think they're going to find that there's a little bit of a difference when Ella Glasgow's running it. And we're going to put some show into their business while we're working on it.
I love it. Put some show into your business. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, diverse background. I love the fact that you're applying this to talking. Do you want to talk about any of the mechanics that you actually teach people? So if somebody comes to you and they want to speak, that's a different class from if somebody comes to you and they want to sing, right?
Yeah. You know what? It is and it isn't. For speakers and for singers, melody is the key. And when it comes to speaking, you know, Tony, I know that you've heard this a million times, people thinking that they have monotone voices or not liking to listen to a speaker who is monotone.
Right, I understand.
Yeah. So when I work with speakers, one of the things that I tell them is that understanding pitch is going to be very key. And we use some of the same exercises that I give to my singers to help them to be pitch aware, so that when they're speaking, they can create a vocal experience for the people that are listening to them that will cause their listeners to want to hang on to their every word because of the beautiful word pictures that they're painting with their pitches and their speaking melody.
Oh, I love that. I think that's the best way I've ever heard of describing what's normally called the boring elevator pitch. You know, you make it sound like fun.
Exactly. It should be fun. Speaking is fun. I believe that in my heart now. If you asked me that a few years ago, I would have said no. But now I know it is fun, and I want other people to know how much fun it really can be to speak and get your ideas heard, because we all have something important to say.
Very, very true. Now, the combination of your history in sales and combination of your years on the stage, I can see as a super 1-2 punch to help people overcome their fear of selling and marketing while giving them a powerful voice. So, I mean, I really see how that combines. Let me ask you this. When you teach people how to speak, it's not just a pitch. It's actual marketing and sales attached to it. What elements of marketing are you at, and how are you doing that?
Being able to understand how to actually put yourself out there, for me, I call everything a show. And if your show, I hope it's okay to say this, I'm going to say it. If your show sucks, nobody's going to want to come and see it again. So when it comes to marketing, you have to have all the key pieces together that draws people in. And when it comes to selling, you need to have all the key pieces together that draws people in. That's everything from the way that you say it, to the way that you dress it, to the way that you're standing when you're on that stage, so that all of those pieces combined create not just the local experience, but the whole show experience for the client or the person that you're sitting in front of or standing in front of speaking to.
That makes sense. So you teach them how to, my favorite saying, the show must go on. You're teaching them how to bring show business in. And, you know, as an ex-casting director, I could see the benefit to coming in, assuming your role, delivering your talk, and just dominating the stage. I mean, that's the presence that people need. And I've even, you see where the TEDx people teach you to do that. I've seen where, that the Shark Tank teaches people how to do that. They've got to master that before they can be on those shows, and it makes a lot of sense that you're walking them through this. Can you give me an example of one of your successful clients that has gone through your training?
Yeah, I have one of my clients. She was giving a talk. Actually, she was giving a TED Talk. And she needed some help. She'd gone through some of the training that the TED Talks had given her, just as you had just mentioned. But she wanted a little bit of tweaking before she hit that stage here in Orlando. And so she and I went through some of the key pieces and some of the things that people don't think about is reasons why they're moving from point A to point B. And if you just move on stage just for the sake of moving, it could come off as looking a little bit chaotic. You have to give yourself a reason to move from point A to point B. And these are the things that she and I were tweaking and making sure that she understood when she hit that TED stage.
That's a super valuable point. So you arm them with effective tools that they need to just kind of shine, right?
Yeah. When you have the right tools and understand how to use them, you become unstoppable.
Who was your inspiration? Who, as a little girl or as a teenager or growing up, who inspired you? Who motivated you? Who were your mentors?
Well, I'm glad you said mentors plural, because I was going to ask. I have a few. And none of these people are anyone that anyone would know. But they were the people that encouraged me as I was growing up. And the first person that encouraged me and really girded me on was my aunt. My aunt was a singer, a professional singer, who sang for someone that you may have heard of before, not a very well-known singer, Tina Turner.
I agree there, 100%. She's amazing.
So my aunt sang for Tina Turner.
I drove by her museum. Yeah.
Did you? Did you? Yeah.
40 over the week. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, my aunt used to be an ICAT. And when I was growing up, I used to visit her and my mother in California. And I would go into her closet, and she had all of these amazing clothes, sparkly jeweled costumes, and all of these crazy cool things. And I would dream that one day I would have a closet full of sparkly costumes just like her. I have that closet now. I can say that. I have that closet now. But this particular, the way that she actually pushed me on to do the things that I have done wasn't actually by encouraging me to go and do them. In fact, when I was 8 years old, I told her I wanted to be on Star Search. And when I practiced my song, I was going to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. I practiced my song and sang it for her, and she told me that I wasn't ready. And in my mind, at 8 years old, I heard I wasn't good enough. And I let those words carry on with me subconsciously until I was about 24 years old when she saw me again. And that was the first time that she actually saw me perform on stage. And she came to me after that show, and she ran up to me and hugged me, and she said, "Oh, my gosh, Ella, I never knew." And it was at that moment that I knew that I had made my aunt super proud. So she was my first mentor.
And then what's her name?
Her name is Gloria Scott.
Thank you. Gloria Scott. Made a difference.
Gloria Scott.
Keep going.
She made a huge difference. You can go and buy her album. Look her up, Gloria Scott. Her album, What Am I Gonna Do? That she did with Barry White years and years ago. But the other mentor that my other mentor was a man named Steve Burdishaw and Ariel Ainsworth. And Ariel Ainsworth was my 7th grade teacher, and he was also my youth pastor. And he saw something in me when I was about 16 years old and invited me to be in the youth band. And every Friday night, I would get up on that band and I would sing, but I would sing very, very small. And for about 3 years, Pastor Ariel, or Pastor Butch, as we called him, Pastor Butch and Steve Burdishaw, who was the trumpet player in our band, would say to me, "Ella, sing out, Ella, sing out, Ella, sing out." And for 3 years, Tony, for 3 years they kept saying that, and for 3 years I would stay small, because really all I wanted to do was just be up there in the band. I wasn't trying to, do anything special. I was just happy to be in the band. And then one summer evening, as they were saying again, "Ella, sing out, Ella, sing out," something happened. I had an out-of-body experience. My voice changed this night. And one of my aunt's who was there that evening, actually has the recording of the night my voice changed. And everyone whips around and looks at me, and I was singing these words that they'd never heard me sing before, and I was doing all of these things with my voice. I was literally standing outside of myself, looking at me, looking at them, going, I don't know what's going on.
How
cool. They knew that there was something inside of me, and they pulled it out. They did everything they could to pull that out, and I'm so grateful to them, Pastor Butch and Steve Burdishaw and Ken Siders. There's so many. There was a whole list of them that pulled out of me for those 3 years to bring that voice out. And then when I got to college, I had so many mentors in college as well, and one of them that I'm thinking of, her name was Abby Burke, and what I loved about her was that she believed in me before I even knew who she was, and she got me into this show in Nashville, Tennessee, that I had never heard of. And the funny thing was is that people were coming up to congratulate me for getting into this show at this theater, and I said, what in the world? What are you talking about? And I finally ran into her, and she said, yes, I couldn't do the show, so I recommended that you take my place. And I said, I don't even know you. How did this happen? Oh, okay. And it was at a theater, a black box theater called the Boiler Room Theater, and I did that show. But the thing that I learned from Abby, she now has me to call her mom. She's my Nashville mother. And she's also a singer, and she does things with her voice while she's on stage that are just unreal, and sometimes for no apparent reason. And what I learned from her was a wild sense of abandon and just not caring about what anybody thinks at any moment in time, to just be you. It took me a few years to really, really sit in that knowledge from her, but I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to be around her for the time that I was.
That's excellent. What excellent mentors. Well, what a surprise, too. I mean, oh, my goodness. You got such an exciting life. I just love listening to you. Thank you so much for sharing your mentors. Let me ask you one thing. All right, so right now, people can get a hold of you if they'd like to hire. You're doing actual coaching. Now, you've got some programs.
I am. I do.
Got out there.
Yeah, the name of the program that people will be able to work with me on is called Command Your Stage. And they can find me on yourvoicesuccess.com, and they can apply to speak with me and find out if the program is a good fit for them. It's a group coaching program, and I also work with people privately at a higher level, depending on what it is that they need. But Command Your Stage is a group coaching program, and they will learn the elements of putting some show into their business.
Absolutely excellent. Now, let me ask you something, Ella, because I have a comedic reason to ask you this. Actually, when I was in college, I decided I wanted to take voice lessons because it's always been a dream of mine to sing. My grandmother used to sing opera, so I was hoping that I could. But here's the funny part. I did so terrible that when it came time to have my finals in this course, the teacher said, I said, hey, don't you want me to sing so that I could, pass my finals? And she looked at me and said, oh, no, it's okay. And she said, but I heard you're running a business and you know how to write a business plan. And I said, yes, I do. She says, I'll give you a B if you don't sing and you write a business plan.
Oh, wow.
So that's why I haven't sung a whole lot, except to myself. And I know that I'm far from pitch perfect, but can people who don't really sing learn how to sing? Is that something?
That is something. And, I just gave a talk this past Friday for a group of women, and I asked them who in the room thought that they were tone deaf. And a couple of them raised their hands. And I said, well, we're going to just dispel this for you right now. We're going to solve this problem right now in the next 10 seconds. And so I asked them, I said, so do you enjoy music? And those that raised their hands said yes, and some of them were nodding their heads wildly how much they loved music. And I said, well, here's the thing. For the less than 1% of the population that's actually tone deaf, they don't enjoy music. So now you know. You're not tone deaf. If you enjoy music, what you are is pitch unaware. And can you become pitch aware? Yes, because I've taught people that were once, quote unquote, tone deaf and made them very pitch aware to the point where now they sing.
Well, you know, that really resonates with me because I did audition. Actually, I did casting for American Idol, and for the same show with Fremantle Media Latin America was called Objective Fame, or they called it Objetivo Fama. And yeah, it was my job to round up as many singers as we could to compete in whatever cities we were sent to. Did that for a couple of years. So I do feel like I'm pitch aware because I can tell you exactly when somebody's onto and not. And that's really interesting that you say that. But pitch awareness doesn't necessarily mean pitch perfect, which is what we look for when we audition people for those shows.
It doesn't mean pitch perfect, but it starts with pitch awareness. And after pitch awareness, you have to start actually using your brain in a different way. What I tell people that come to me that have no pitch awareness, I let them know that honestly the difference between me and them at that point is simply the way that I listen to music. And the way that I listen to music and pitch, and then the way that I process it. And some of those ways can actually be learned. And I discovered this when I was working with a young girl years ago. She was the first person that I ever had come upon that had this issue. And she was 8 years old, and her mother said to me, we don't know why she loves to sing because we can't sing a lick, but we want to just support her in whatever it is that she wants to do. And I said, okay. And so we went to the keyboard, and I played a few pitches for her, and I noticed that at a certain point, she stopped being able to sing the pitches that I was giving her. And the point was very, very small. There were only about 2 or 3 pitches that were working for her. And so I said, I'm not sure what's going on here, but we're going to figure this out. We're going to figure this out. And so I gave her a few exercises to do over that week that had nothing to do with her singing. In fact, they're kind of boring exercises, and they're kind of annoying because it involves just hitting one note on a piano multiple times and just listening. And when she came back in about 2 weeks from us doing that first exercise and the things that I did with her in that 2 weeks' time, she went from not being able to recognize any pitches above middle C, if you're familiar with the keyboard, to being able to recognize pitches up to about G from what she was doing before. So we were able to find out that it was opening her ears. She had never had her ears open. She just loved music, like many people do. They love music, and then they go away from the person that's singing the song on the radio and find they just don't know the pitches as well as they thought. And there are all kinds of other reasons that keep people from being able to reproduce the pitches, but those issues can be solved and they can be fixed.
I love it, Ella. So you're so gifted, and you're willing to share that with everyone. You support people who want. And by the way, Ella is available for keynotes. Please get a hold of her. You've got a couple of programs. I think it says how your voice is affecting your business, life, and money. That sounds really interesting. Okay.
Yes.
And you've got another one called Money Stuck in the Middle.
Yes. It has to do with mindset. The first one, people's voices, they don't realize how much they're affecting what's going on in their business. Many times people say, you may have said it, Tony, I'm sure other people have said it, that they don't like the sound of their voice. Here's the thing. If you don't like the sound of your voice, why do you expect us to like the sound of your voice? So, let's get it together. Let's do the things that we need to do. Let's get the tools that we need to get so that we have the voice that compels people to want to listen instead of repelling them from listening to you.
Absolutely love it. Ella, I want to thank you for being with us today and sharing your story and your life and your energy. It's just beautiful. We wish you the best with your share called Orlando Speaks. They can get to it through meetup.com. I believe you're just setting everything up, but they can get a hold of you on your website. And go ahead and repeat your website one more time.
The website is yourvoicesuccess.com.
Yourvoicesuccess.com. Love it. You guys get a hold of Ella. She's amazing, and she's in Orlando, and she is fun. And I just love watching, even on YouTube, your videos are tremendous. And you've got quite a following. So I'm thrilled that you're here. By the way, this has been an episode of the World Class Mentors. It's a radio show and podcast celebration of people like Ella who have achieved world-class standards through sharing their stories and honoring their mentors. Everyone, thank you so much. Ella, my heart goes out to you. You're amazing, and I love you.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony.